Good afternoon, Brandon Hardison, President of Champion Strategies, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of Hardison's Tips. Now, we do this for everyone in the sales space. I don't care if you have a major account, key account, up and down the street, in-home sales, retail sales, but today we are very blessed and fortunate to be in the automotive space. And we're going to be talking to one of the best in the nation. She's been doing this, she's seen a lot of things. And would you believe one of the things we're going to talk about is back to basics? See, because in key account, major account, all of those, they talk about team solution selling. Well, in the automotive industry, they do team solution selling also, from department to department and inside the department. So today we're going to look at what happens when a sales consultant is with a guest. They've selected a vehicle. They've came to an agreement on a vehicle. And now the handoff to the other team member, being the person that's in control of the business office. We call it F&I in the automotive world. Now we're going to talk about some of the things that they should be doing. So if you're a manager out there, or if you're in someone in F&I or would like to be an F&I, get your pencil out, take some notes, you might pick up something. But ladies and gentlemen, it's proud for me to simply say I'd like to bring on my friend, Rebecca Chernek. How are you doing today, Rebecca?
I am doing fantastic, and thank you so very much for bringing me on your show. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey, I know we're both short for time because we're rocking and rolling, so let's get right to it. I know when I was training F&I, boy, some of the basics that I learned, because we role played and we had videoed before you had a chance to get out there. I won't say the company, but we used to come to the salesperson's desk and do an interview with the customer. Mm-hmm. So this way we can learn some things, go back in our office, and for the people who don't know, we load the deal, but we put the information in so we can save some time before the guest comes into my office and we talk more about products and services. Do you see that? Are we still teaching that today?
I think some are still teaching that today. I don't see a lot really doing that today. It's still a good message. It's still a good point to make sure that we're engaging customers earlier on in the process, and especially making sure that we validate the transaction and assure that we have everything we need to speed the delivery along, as well as tear down some of the walls, build rapport with our customers, fact find, determine some of the customer needs, and assure that the products are in alignment and are valuable to the needs of the customer. And I feel that when we're able to review this information earlier on, it is going to make for a much better buying experience altogether and help to really streamline the process and cut down the time it takes to complete the entire delivery time. Absolutely.
So for the ones that feel that they're rushed or they see no value in it, is there going to be some challenges when the guest comes into their office and they're trying to sell some additional product and services?
So here's an interesting fact. I was speaking to a reporting company yesterday. Does all the sales and finance reporting and that sort of stuff, and I'm trying to get a real good idea where we are since this COVID hit. And interesting enough, although volume dropped, what happened? We actually increased profits both on the front end as well on the back end. And how did that happen? What was it that really helped to raise that performance? And, a lot of the dealers had appointment-based selling, and that meant that we kind of slowed down the process a bit, right? And had time for each customer, in my opinion. And because of that, we didn't have the eyes rolling, hurry up, we've got another customer coming in, let's forget about the process, I don't care what you've been taught, we've got customers waiting, let's do this. So I think because we didn't have that, obviously, so much, we concentrated and focused on every single customer, and doing that really helped make a greater impact. And so I kind of think that certainly helped, along with some of the OEM specials, subvented programs, that sort of thing. That didn't hurt either. But I got to tell you, sometimes, by slowing things down, sometimes actually speeds things up. So time is time. Where is it better spent? And so that's kind of like what I think and say in my training classes. It's like, okay, so where's that time better spent? Is it better spent in an F&I office, 45 minutes trying to figure out what I've got, or 5 minutes reviewing the information with the customer before they make their way into that office? Where's that time better spent? And it's proven. It's already proven.
I love it. Since you did mention OEMs, or the manufacturers, for the people who maybe don't know that much about our world, is there anything that they suggest when they hear their finance manager say, Rebecca, all they want to do is pay cash, that I just get too many cash deals, I'm not successful?
Well, again, that goes back with having that conversation earlier on. And, there's so many various options that are available to a customer to keep that money in their bank and hopefully collecting interest, rather than taking the money out. And I mean, if it were me, there's lease options that are available. I'd rather do a short-term 36-month and keep my money in the bank, keep it safe. And rather than having to be so concerned about the residual value on a vehicle, and then 36 months in, if I want to go ahead and buy the car, buy the car. If I want to walk away from the vehicle, I walk away from the vehicle. Or if I want to take advantage, gosh, there's 0% financing. You know what it is? It's just education. It's about communicating with our customers and offering our customers the options to take advantage, and having that thought out conversation with the customer. Let's face it, salespeople are salespeople. I love salespeople. Here's the thing. You want to pay cash? Okay, I'll take your cash. I'm going to take your cash all day. I'm going to sell a car. Easy peasy. So, but right? At the end of the day, that's cool. But again, is that the best? Is that really the best way to go with the customer? So what I'd like to do is I'd like to make sure that I'm getting involved earlier on, and communicating with the customer. Oh, by the way, not sure whether or not you realize this or not, but we do have many different options that are available to our customers. Can I show you some of the options that are available? You make a decision one way or the other, but I got to tell you right now, our manufacturer has a great subvented special program I've got to share with you.
There you go.
And we do that right on the menu. We show the
Excellent.
customer pay cash, or here's a wonderful subvented program that I absolutely love. Got to show it to you. You're going to love this.
Outstanding. So
Easy peasy.
Somebody posted great information, but yes, I like when you said that many times when we slow it down, we're speeding up anyway. So here's where I'm going with the next question.
Okay.
We know that the virus is out there. Some dealerships are in place when it comes to the distance deliveries. They can even do the process all the way through without coming to the dealership. So when it comes to the business office, the F&I transaction, is there anything out there you can share with us, or what's the best practice maybe when someone's online and we're doing the F&I process from the digital space?
Well, this digital retailing stuff, I got to tell you, it's a buzzword, and there's many different providers, platform providers that offer the capability for the customer to engage with the dealership. And not only in shopping vehicles online, but the importance of determining payment options in advance, which I think is ideal. I don't want a customer to come into a dealership uninformed. I want them to be informed. I think it's a good idea. It's a great idea, actually. I want to make sure that my customers understand the terms that they'll likely qualify for. Now, some providers say, okay, here's a matrix, here's a guideline, here's some idea. They'll allow the customer the capability to self-test, meaning determining payment options in advance based off of a guideline of sorts. That's one way of doing it. Or another platform provider actually does a hard inquiry. Customer submits credit application via online, and there are banks that are available that help to determine closer to specifics what this customer may qualify for before they ever make their way into a dealership, which is important because at least we now have a better understanding. Okay, this is the vehicle I want. This is what I'm likely going to qualify for. And frankly, these are the payments that, I can fit into my budget.
Right.
And so that cuts down all the unnecessary time that, customer may spend shopping on a vehicle, bring the customer back into the dealership only to find out what they don't qualify. And then here comes the back and forth, the friction. And then we're getting customers into vehicles that they can't budget for, and that becomes a whole another ordeal. So is it better to make sure that we have our customers, at least have better information earlier on the right vehicle that they actually qualify for based on their budget and credit criteria? Absolutely. And then if the vehicle's readied up or close to be readied up for a test drive, when they get into the dealership, I think it's an ideal situation.
You brought something up, and thank you for that. What are the industry standards that you're seeing when it comes to challenge credit customers? Is that on the rise? And if I am an F&I manager, can I specialize? Should I put all my energies into maybe grabbing those type of guests since the virus is with us now, or what's your suggestions on that?
Again, bad things happen to good people all the time. And God knows what's going to happen with some unfortunate people, business people who have lost their businesses, small business owners, etc. I mean, we're all in this mix together. And the idea is to get this customer back on board sooner rather than later. And I hope the heck that we do everything that we can to minimize any kind of, we want to minimize the, how do I say this in the right way, obstructions. And we want to, again, make sure that this customer is in a vehicle that they likely, again, qualify for based off their credit criteria and also their budget, and how important it is to really minimize the friction and determine the best way we can possibly go to assure that customer's, again, if they're having to pay a higher interest rate versus maybe a lease would probably be better. Whatever that we can do to make sure that the terms that are available are the best terms that we can come up with and get the customer in and out sooner and in another vehicle sooner as well. Hopefully I kind of put that together right, but
I know that was perfect, because now if folks are listening, and I try to tell my people every day that we need to be doing this, that was the third time you mentioned leasing. Here's where I'm going. You know as well as I do, there are dealerships around the country that are advertising in their own way 84 months, 96 months payments.
Mhm.
That is ridiculous. Can maybe you give your professionalism on why a guest would even consider something that far out versus, like you said, with the lease?
Again, I don't know whether or not they really have the options that are available to them. Where I was going with, sometimes our finance companies, lease companies will offer another option that is better than extending out the term at a higher interest rate. If we can make that work, it's always better than of course extending terms out, because at the end of the day, we're extending 96 months. When are we going to get out from under these traits? And it just keeps the customer out of the marketplace altogether. I don't think that's really smart business. I mean, now granted, a customer may say, I really want this vehicle, but I can't only afford so much. And it is, at the end of the day, up to the customer to determine those options that are made available to them. But here again, I have worked with dealers who have said, Beck, let me tell you how I feel. It's 60 months here, and that's it. And if it's going over 60 months, I'm going to sign off on that. And I'm like, okay. And he signed off on a few, but I got to tell you, when I mention this to other dealers, they're going, well, how can this guy even sell any vehicles? I think it's the mentality. And it really is the culture of the store. It's the mentality. I like to share with customers, look, by you taking advantage of shorter terms, I get it. Maybe the payment's a bit higher than what you might want. I get that. But it can do a couple things. We're going to minimize some of the finance charges. I can hope to build equity faster. And the whole idea to get you in and out of this vehicle, I don't know, in 48 months or even in 5 years, right? As opposed to extending terms out to 72 to 84 months. I mean, we're often better every time we can make the customer understand the advantages of putting more money down to shorten the term, if you can do it. Always better.
You got it. Just a couple more. What's your opinion about a certified pre-owned vehicle? Maybe we have young salespeople and they land a customer on a new vehicle instead of maybe placing them where they should be on a certified pre-owned. Do financial institutions, OEMs, try to help people out when it comes to purchasing a certified pre-owned?
I got to tell you, certified pre-owned is the way to go when we can do it.
Oh,
I mean,
you give me one reason. What would be one advantage?
Well, again, you got the same subvented rate that's available at a reduced price. I mean, come on. It's like, we always look for certified. Anytime I can get my hands on one, I'm like, let me show you something. Can I show you something? You got to check this out. I love this car. Come on in here. Let's get started. But yeah, I mean, you got to know your inventory and you got to know your advantages. And you got to know your niches, and you got to know how your banks buy, for crying out loud. I've got a thing, and I don't know if we should be going here because we are talking about the basics, but the basics to me is when a sales manager is on the desk and they're submitting deals to the bank and they're haphazardly submitted because they don't know their niche, and they call that shotgunning. And that's the worst thing you can do to a customer is to shotgun these deals, and the worst thing you can do to your bank relationships. I mean, you want to go ahead and shoot yourself in the foot, go ahead and keep shotgunning those deals to banks. You've got to know your niche. You've got to know your relationship. You've got to know, what your OEM, your finance companies are willing to pick up, for crying out loud. I mean, they're there to help you all the way.
You got it.
Give them a way to go, and that's what I've often said. Give them a way to go. Find the story. Find out what's going, how to make this whole thing happen. Know your inventory. Know your niche. Get it down. And we're selling more cars. It isn't what they say, rocket science.
It's not. Yeah. And I like what you said here with that. Now, you've done your due diligence in your business office. How do we, team solution selling, what's the best way to hand it back to the sales consultant, in your opinion, from a F&I standpoint? Do we get on the blower and let the world know that you're finished? Do you go scurry around and try to hunt the person down? Do you have group texts? Because sometimes, as you know, salespeople will let that customer go and go find another.
Well, that is part of the plan, right? At the dealership. What is the plan? What is our whole thing all about? Does the salesperson just get up, forget about the customer, and go get themselves another up? And so I don't know about that whole thing. I think that they need to be ready to up and know that their customer is going to be coming out of the finance office, which, by the way, if in fact we have done our due diligence and we have fact-finded that and engaged with a customer earlier on, we're not in that office with that customer more than 20 minutes. And we have cut it down. What else are we doing in there? We do our menu presentation. We may address customer concerns about some of the product options, that sort of stuff. I mean, what else do we do? Most of the paper was printed anyway. So it's a 20-minute time period. I think the sales associate should be ready to take that customer either, hopefully they've already done the service walk. So they're ready to go ahead and take delivery of the vehicle, that sort of thing. But texting is always a good way to do it. I don't know if I like all this screeching over the sound system everywhere, but I think texting is really cool. And I think that's a great tool to use. Oh, by the way, Joe, customer's ready. And I can do that right in front of my customer too, and say, hey, by the way, let's go ahead and text Joe. I think we're all ready to go here. Is there any other questions that you have? Blah, 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 blah.
Great point.
So
very point. You hit on it. Now, it would be remiss of me if I don't ask this. What's upcoming for you? Anything that you got going? I know you stay busy, but what do you like to tell the folks out?
Well, I'm still very active out here, although, the COVID crunched it up a bit for me. I won't kid you. Some dealers are like backing off. They're thinking, I don't know whether or not we need training right now. Obviously, they want to, cut back on some of those expenses, and I quite get that. But so I'm still doing in-dealership training. So for those that are interested in bringing me into the dealership, I like that. I think it's important to do the in-dealership training because I get it from the front end, from the time that customer lands on the dealership website to that meet and greet with sales associate, from the meet and greet to desking, and making sure that we've got all that together and streamlining this process and taking the deal from finance or even to a single point sales associate to finalizing this transaction and really putting this process plan together. That's what I do. I mean, it's remarkable once we make that all happen. Bring everyone in unison. Now, also, I'm doing the F&I tips of the week, which I absolutely freaking love. And excuse me, it's a way to go ahead and really talk about what are these great products doing? Should they be, what's the newest? What's the best? And should we have them on our menus? What's going on with that? How about our menu providers? Do we go digital? Do we stay on paper menu? Oh gosh, you name it. So then we're going to be talking about, the digital, the technology companies, and we're getting into the nitty gritty. It's a 30-minute, let's really talk through some of this stuff. Let's talk about some of the closes. Let's open up some of these, our books. Let's blow the dust off of this stuff and really crank it up and have some fun.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Well, Rebecca, thank you for giving up some of your time today. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Rebecca Chernek, president of Chernek Consulting, one of the best in our industry when it comes to the automotive finance and insurance space. We thank you and God bless you and safe travels.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Take care.
Thanks.
And for the rest of you, we're going to let you get